Hi everyone, here is AhkTaar and welcome back on my YouTube channel. In today's video it's time to talk about the special stages of the city, of the elemental city. So let's first talk about the first one. The special stage number 1 is the easiest one. Probably you can clear it even if you are early game because you just need normally a solo epic hero. If you have a holder, and I know that a lot of players are using him really early, holder can probably solo this content because as you can see enemies are taking a lot of direct damage. They don't have a lot of HP and a lot of damage, so it's probably super easy to beat this stage even if you are early game. So then you have the boss wave, but the boss is not a big threat. You can kill him super easy and she doesn't deal a lot of damage. So if you struggle here, you can use at least some Dustin if you have a Dustin, you can use a Whim to protect your heroes, you can use a Liz, you can use a Vedor, even without a lot of awakenings, it should do the job. So that was all for the first one. Really easy. Now let's talk about the second one. I really hope that in the future they don't add the epic mandatory heroes on a higher stage, otherwise it's gonna be super hard. Maybe with my teams I had some controls, so maybe I could try to beat higher stages, but if it was stage 4, maybe it wouldn't do the job, probably because enemies with higher levels are a nightmare to beat. So let's talk about the next one. On this one you have to use only support heroes, defense heroes, and this one can be hard for many players because if you are early game, if you don't have heroes that can deal damage, defense heroes that can deal damage, enemies every time they are gonna inflict and detonate a burn, the dogs are gonna heal all enemies, and so if it happens, you probably can't beat the stage. Here I'm using a Sigmund, but I have a lot of stats on him, and this is why he is inflicting a lot of damage to enemies, so I'm able to deal with this stage. Also I have Nazil, so I can control enemies. I don't understand why I didn't use him here, because if I did use him, it would have been easier. So I inflict HP burnings. There is no dog on the first wave, so no heals on enemies, and you can just tank. Normally you shouldn't take too much damage. If you have Whim and if you have Sigmund, for example, normally it should be nice. If you have Elbeck, and if you use him with crit rate, crit damage, it should do the job. But on this wave you have 3 dogs. Every time enemies are gonna inflict burns and detonate burns on your heroes, then they are gonna heal the whole team. And this can be a threat. As you can see, enemies are healing themselves. But it's okay. If you have enough stats on your Sigmund or enough damage on your heroes, you should be able to kill them. But it's still taking a lot of time to beat them though. You need a control to lower the amount of heals enemies get. So using that, it's working. Now only 1 dog remaining, you have to focus them first. If you kill them, you lower their heals. And then the boss fight. This one is not a hard one. The boss is not doing a lot of damage on your heroes. So you can have Whim. I know that many players use him at the beginning of the game, so it can be really interesting to use him. And if you are lucky enough to have Sigmund or Elbeck, try to use them. They are gonna do a nice job in here. Because it's only the special stage number 2. If this stage was on higher stages, maybe stage 4, I shouldn't be able to beat it. Clearly I shouldn't be able to clear it, because I would lack some damage with my heroes. Enemies are healing too much, and the boss is not a big threat, but we have to deal with waves, and the dogs are healing too much, in my opinion. And then you have to kill the boss when he has the shield here in 2 turns, otherwise he's gonna land a huge attack on your heroes. But it works, it worked. Let me jump into the gallery, filters. And now I want all the defense units, epic, legend and mythic ones. If you have her, Brynhild, she can help a lot. She's gonna deal a lot of damage, and so normally you should be able to beat this content with her. If you need a control hero, you can use Christian. He can stun enemies, so it can help. Yeah, I know, I'm not laughing, I'm not joking, he can work. And also he is gonna help in this faction after that. Because he can apply a shield, he can stun in AoE with the basic attack, so it works also with Ben Austin, and he can provide a shield and put an attack up on self. So he's gonna deal not that much damage, but stun enemies, apply a shield. So this one can be a great one to have and also to use in this faction. Maybe I'm gonna try to save 1 copy of him in the future so I can do easier the content in this faction Abyss. He can be great in this content. And if you are early game, you can save a copy, so you can stun enemies in here. If you have Ruin, you can stun enemies with him. If you have Teru can also inflict and intertwine and control enemies. If you have Creon, he is a great one. He can stun enemies in AoE and with the basic attack. He can apply HP burnings. He's gonna be great. If you have Monchka, he can solo maybe this content. Yeah, probably he can. He can self counter attack, apply HP burnings. He is great for this content. If you have Gunner, I'm not sure that he can solo this content, but he can help. If you have Nordak, he can protect you. If you have Rumble is great. He can apply many freeze, control enemies super easy. And yeah, he is such a great unit here to control enemies. If you have Vedor, he can help. Consolidation 1, same as Wim. Shield, stun, effect rest down. He is awesome. If you have Sinton, he can provoke. It can help, but it won't prevent them to heal. If you have this one, maybe. He just protects your ally. This one is not great. Hordak is gonna be great in here, deal a lot of damage, and self counter attack. If you have Maguire, he can apply a Severe Wound and provoke and apply a shield on your heroes. This one is great for this content. And early game, he is great also against Gwyneth with the Severe Wound, and in the Tower of Mark, red one, and in the Faction Abyss. This one is a great hero. Mamuk is also awesome in here. Tuck is great. You have many heroes that can help a lot here. Even Stan is great. He can apply a lot of poisons and deal a lot of damage based on his defense, and he has a lot of defense, so this one is great. And this one can stun, I think, provoke. No, only yeah, he can stun. He can stun, apply consolidation 1 on your heroes. Even this one can help. But I don't recommend you to build him though. He is not a great hero. Nazil, awesome. This one, awesome. He can protect your allies and make your highest DPS pursue. This one is great. In the future, maybe they are gonna do a rotation with the different classes. Maybe we are gonna have some supports, but if you have some supports, you can bring Half to kill enemies really easy. You have Ben Austin, you have Catherine, you have many solutions here. You have space, you have everything you need to control enemies and deal damage. You can use maybe Half to deal damage. You can use you can use Staff to deal damage. You have Focus. You have Bizidon that can help a lot. You have Daisy. You have Gilliman who can deal a lot of damage. You have Wolsey. You have many solutions in here. So I'm not really worried about this class. And attack, you can use some leech and you can destroy enemies super easy with this class. So probably the defense one, the one we have at the moment, is the hardest one. So let me accelerate the video. Now let's jump on the third one. This one is more difficult because it's mark. You need to use only force mark heroes. So here, if you are early game, maybe you didn't build yet your force mark heroes. Maybe you were focusing on the red one, on the green one, or on the blue one, depending on your heroes. So maybe this one is going to be difficult. And enemies are higher level than before. So here you don't need only one DPS to solo this content. You need many things. You need great support, you need control, and DPS. So you need three kind of heroes. You need a healer, at least a DPS, maybe Hawkmin, maybe Amelia, but I don't think that Hawkmin will be sufficient. Melia can be awesome. Maybe Mutu can be great in here to kill enemies faster because they take less HP burning damage. I don't know. And you need a control. And here I have Nicholas. So here it can be great with Nicholas. So they are still taking a lot of damage. So Melia is a great choice. And so they are dying fast. But this is almost my best team in the game. So maybe it's going to be harder for you, for the majority of players. But maybe if it was the green mark, and if you have Ezonja, it would be super easy. If you don't have Ezonja with the green mark, it's gonna be hard. Maybe if you have Creon instead of Ezonja, it can still work because he can control enemies, he can apply HP burnings, so he is a great one. On the blue mark, if you have Quinlan, it's great. If you have Natalie, maybe it's great too. You can inflict many bleeds in AoE, especially with the first exclusive to reset the duration of bleeds. His arrow can help, but then Love can help a lot. Do we have many controls in blue mark? You have Tuck, but it's not 100% reliable. Then I don't know. Red mark, you have Catherine. So if you have Catherine, it's super easy. You just need a control hero. What do we have in red? We have to check that after that. So let me accelerate the run just a bit. Okay, it was a lot. So this boss is not a big threat. If you have Melia, you can kill him super easy with the HP burnings. I don't think that he has a lot of HP, so maybe if you use a direct damage dealer such as Mutu, maybe, or Shia, it can work. So let me change this. So we go back on the game and let's try to see force mark heroes. Here, Alahan will be great support and he can control. Maybe you can duo this content with Alahan and Melia if you have her. Or Pauline also, you have him for free, so maybe it can help a lot. To control enemies, you don't have many things here. You can freeze enemies with Zyra if you have her. And then, if you have the first exclusive on Garina, it can help to control enemies. But then you don't have many things to control them, in fact. If you have Fegan, if you have Rudolph, you can control them. Then it's pretty all you need. Yeah, that's pretty all. You need controls, you need damage, and you need heals. So Alahan is the best option, and then Melia is the best option. Hawkmin then, and then Shia and Mutu if you have exclusives on them to go with direct damage. It should work. If it was blue one, then you have Nazil. Yeah, you have Nazil to control. Nazil is great, one of the best to control in the game. You have also intertwined with this one, Teru. Otherwise, you can use Tuck if you have him to control. Quinlan to control. Maybe this one, Sinton to control, but he's gonna take some damage. Yeah, maybe for other marks it's gonna be harder in the future on other rotations. I don't know. I'm gonna do another video about it in the future with the next rotations we have. So let's concentrate on this first. So now let's talk about the stage number 4. This one is the hardest one because I don't have Christian. And now maybe you want to laugh because I don't have Christian. I can't control enemies. I have no control in my team, so I'll try to lower their turn meter using the skill of my Ben Austin, the skill 2. But now I have to rely on my luck. Enemies are all targeting my heroes, and as you can see, they pursue every time, and I'm always dying because of that. I can have many buffs on my heroes, but it won't work because I'm not gonna take a lot of damage. I can lower their effect hit thanks to Verto, but I can have a lot of defense on my heroes. If the enemy pursue me and detonate the burns, I'm gonna die. Because the burns hits through the defense, it ignores defense, and it deals a crazy amount of damage. But if they target different heroes in my team, then I can survive. So this is the only way I found to beat this content. It was to try and retry until it works. And this is what I did. As you can see, the video duration is super long. So let's have a look to here. So as you can see, I was lucky enough to stay alive, kill them one by one. And they weren't targeting only one of my heroes. So they were hitting all my heroes. Now my Catherine helps to cleanse the burn in AoE, and this is super important. And as you can see, they were targeting multiple of my heroes, not focusing only one, and this is how I managed to beat this stage, with dying and retrying. I think it doesn't matter if you have Verto, if you don't have him, if you have only Sigmund, Catherine and Ben Austin, you just have to die and retry until you win. It's gonna take a huge amount of time, but it's the only way I managed to beat this content. Or maybe I had to build someone to control enemies, but I didn't want to build a Christian, and I don't have him because I always fed him in the past. So yeah, it was difficult. But this is the Soul Harbor faction only. Then the 5th stage is Dragon Tribe only. Imagine if we had other factions. Soul Harbor and Dragon Tribe are the easiest one in the game. Maybe if you have need-rolled Elix space builds and Eden, maybe the Sorcerer, the Wizard Eye is probably the easiest one, but you need the heroes. Here you have Catherine and Ben Austin who are accessible, and yeah, Sigmund is not accessible, but still, if you have him, it's gonna be great. But I mean, for the Wizard Eye, you need heroes that are hardly obtainable. You need rolled with exclusives, you need Elic, you need okay, space is obtainable, but it's harder because here I have 2 great heroes. You don't have Catherine in other factions, and you don't have Ben Austin too. Dragon Tribe is easiest than this one because you can have Nazil, you can have great controls, you can have Nicholas, you can have Pauline, you can have Sanja, Melia, Huff, you have everything that can destroy the entire game. So this faction was super hard, but when you pass waves, you are safe. The boss is not hitting hard on your heroes. And as you can see, now he's dead and it was over. Now let's talk about the 5th stage. You are gonna have a look to that. Waves are gonna die super easy, okay? Because I can control them, so I'm not gonna take a lot of attacks. Okay, sometimes it's harder than other times. You have to control them, so you have to be a bit lucky with the heroes you use. But here, I don't understand why, but I decided not to use Nazil. But with Nazil, you're gonna see that it's way easier. I can control waves, it's super easy. And now, the content is way easier if you have Nazil. As you can see, waves are dying super easy. 83 turns. Now this is the boss wave, and you are gonna see how fast I'm gonna kill the boss. Because I have Ezanja, and Ezanja and Melia. This is just a joke when you have them both. So here I want to focus only the boss, and as you can see, he's not hitting super hard on my heroes, and I have only I have an epic hero. I have Sinov to heal my heroes. Maybe I could have used Pauline instead of her to heal more and to apply the HP buff on my heroes to kill enemies faster. It should have worked with Pauline instead of her. And so this is it, the boss is dying super fast. And as you can see, the boss is not hitting that hard. I mean, regular enemies, normal enemies are killing me or destroying me, but here, this is a boss and this is just a joke. He is not hitting hard, and now he's dead because of Ezanja. So that was all for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If it's the case, as usual, please like, comment and subscribe, and then see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Infinite Magicraid. Play to slay.